Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to tell you all is, again, thank you for being punctual and respecting, everyone else's time. I certainly respect and honor your time. Okay, hang on one second. Sorry about that. I'm home here and a lot going on, so I get distracted sometimes. But I wanted to tell you guys how much I really appreciate you guys commenting on my videos and following me on YouTube, Facebook, et cetera, wherever you guys have been following us. And in this private group we just started, it's just to give you more hands-on secrets and access to things that I've learned over the years from my mentors. You know, how to create wealth. You know, more than just crypto. This is a crypto mastermind, but as you're going to learn really quick, we do things a little unorthodox. We learn about business funding. We learn other opportunities that's going to make you money right away while you're waiting for Cryptex to actually mature and get where it needs to be. Because sometimes while you're waiting for your wealth to come, you need to find multiple streams of income. And so that's why I created this group. You guys have been sensational. I really love all the support because I didn't know how well this was going to go, but I'm seeing all the people coming back, giving me responses. I mean, my email was flooded. And so if I don't get back to you, I look at some of the names here and I notice some of you guys have been trying to contact me and I haven't gotten back to you yet. I apologize because it's overwhelming. I'm only one person and I have a team, but sometimes my team is just overloaded with all these requests. So, if that happens, please forgive me and give us some time and just keep following up until we get back to you. But I'm looking at some of the names here and I remember emailing all of you back individually. And if I have not, excuse me, let me just do some roll call here. You don't have to say anything, guys. I'm just gonna confirm that you're here. Beverly Lavers, Brad Gibson, Carter, Charles Johnson. Everybody's muted because you can't say anything. That's okay. I'll mute you in a minute. Courtney Hill, CV Cobra. I'm not sure who that is. Eric Ruiz, Linda Durham, Michigan Nat, Richard Osborne, and Walkie. Okay, I know 90% of the people that's on here. I know them by the names, but thanks for attending. And I want you guys to know something. By the end of the year, going into the next year, I want you to game plan, and I will spend the time on the phone with you or on webinars like this, one-on-one to help you get to the next level in whatever you're trying to accomplish. All right. So we all know that Cryptex is good, but we have to wait either 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, or 7 years. Some of you guys have been in about 2 years, and I'm pretty sure you saw in the group. We just saw somebody in Germany. Was it Aaron Diamond? He's been following that group, and they just started getting big payouts in September and so forth. So September, October, going all the way to next year. Every month there's going to be different groups getting their money, and then we know if you guys are following us on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, Omar, who's the presenter, he's in his third year. So next June he's worth like 50 million, but he's going to start getting those big payouts. So while you're waiting, when you see that happening, you don't want to just sit around and do nothing. There's other ways to create wealth while you're doing that, and that's why that's why I got this inner circle. I want you guys to know there's more out there, but you want to make sure you do all your due diligence before you invest. The gentleman that I have on the screen is a really good friend of mine, and I've been knowing him about a year now. He's a very sharp guy when it comes to business funding, and he knows how to go out and get unconventional financing. Okay, his name is Chris Vail, and I'm not going to read his bio. I have someone else that's going to do that in a moment, but I'm just going to tell you what I know about him from experience. Because if I bring someone on my platform, they have to have integrity. They have to do things the right way. They have to be a transparent person. They have to bring something to the table that I believe is going to be able to help my following and the people that follow me, and people that I serve, the clients and customers that I serve. They have to be able to bring some value. So if you see me bring a work with someone, just like the first time 2 weeks ago when I brought on the gentleman that you guys heard speak, Mr. Kurtz, he brought value. He understands what's going on with crypto and especially Bitcoin, and that's why I can work with him. Well, this gentleman, I've been knowing him longer than I knew Kurtz. So I've been knowing Kurtz, and I've seen how he works. He does things the right way. He knows how to go out and find money. He's a money guy. He knows this. He knows this business. Has a high business acumen. All right, and he's going to show us tonight how to get access to up to $1 million in what we call asset-based lending. It's an entire program. It's a two-part program. To be honest with you, it's not just one part. He takes you and get you the first round of 100,000. generally within 35 days. And then you take a portion of the 100 grand that you get, you reinvest that back, and he's going to show you how he gets the asset-based lending with, he basically gets you, you actually buy debt for pennies on the dollar when you get the 100,000. So he's going to explain how that works. And when you buy the debt, you're just like a bank now, because now you have $1 million of debt that you purchased, just like a bank. So instead of them paying the bank, they're not paying you for that debt, for loans that people have outstanding. And so now you have real debt. Now you have assets where you can go to any bank and say, bank, hey, listen, I want another $1 million because I have this asset over here of debt that people are paying me. Can you go ahead and leverage me with another loan? And that's what he does. So this is a very legit program, and it's what I like about it is, a lot of people are not doing this. Now, the big banks and bigger companies that have a lot more money, they're able to do this, but the smaller guys don't really have access to it. They're not privy to it, and that's where I come in. That's what I specialize in, trying to give you guys access to things that basic groups and folks that are at the bottom that don't have all the $1 million to get access to this stuff. I want to get this in your hands because that's what wealthy people do. You find ways to get on the inside. And one of the biggest secrets of wealth, guys, before I have her give his bio, is you have to know how to use other people's money to create wealth. That's one of the secrets that most people don't talk about. If you look at the richest folks out there, trust me, they have a ton of good debt. If they're worth $5 billion, they probably have $5 or $10 billion in debt, but it's good debt. In other words, they borrow the money. Now they have real estate properties. They have other assets. They have Bitcoin. They have other asset producing products that they're using to leverage the debt. And that's what I've learned. I've learned that from some of the best, especially in real estate. If you want to be worth $100 million in real estate, you're probably going to have to borrow $50 to $100 million to borrow, and you take that and you buy multifamily buildings, you buy portfolios, you buy tons of property that are already producing cash. And then you go to the bank and they'll give you the money because now you have assets. And I learned that the hard way, but you guys, I'm going to give you everything I can in this mastermind. This mastermind is going to be about a 2-year program. Okay. And every 6 months, I want to get together and meet you guys in person in Atlanta, Georgia, as we grow and develop. But when I see you, I want you to be doing things. Like I want to see that you went out, you were able to buy that property that you wanted to buy, or you was able to, start your own crypto coin. A lot of folks are doing that now. If you know how to do that, you can get your own coin now. It's not impossible. All right. Having said that, I think I talked enough. But again, thank you for your support. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen now and show my face here because I was totally forgot. I got it all revved up here. I don't have on the suit tonight, guys. Okay, this is me sitting here in the house. Let's see here. I'm stopping the screen, stopping the share. All right. Can you guys hear and see me good? It's a little late for me to say that, but y'all see me? All right. Oh, by the way, I was so sick. Man, listen, take my hat off. It was bad, guys. I mean, my wife and I was down for the count. I couldn't get out of bed. And I hadn't been sick since COVID. I got real sick in 2021 with COVID. I almost died. I lost like 30 pounds in January of 2021, 25 pounds in 2 weeks. I couldn't eat nothing. And I hadn't felt that bad until the other day when I had this bad sinus headache. And the wife took care of me, but I felt your prayers. My internet is probably in and out. Can you guys hear me? Is it fading in and out? Can you hear me good? Okay, good. Because I'm looking at my screen and it's moving slow, and the internet's been in and out here all day. But yeah, so she took care of me, and then she got really sick, and I had to take her into the emergency room on Saturday because she was coughing uncontrollably. And I said, "What's going on? Sounds like you have COVID." She did not have COVID, thank God. They checked her lungs were good, and I could feel your prayers of support. Okay, everybody, we may not always believe the same thing, but I could feel your prayers, and she's back to like 80% now. That she has a little cough left, but she's good. But thank you for your support. Okay. Having said that, what I want to do now is I'm going to unmute. Somebody said, "Thank God." Yeah, absolutely. Unmute Miss Linda Durham. She's one of our leaders in the group here. I'm going to unmute right now.
Hello.
There you go. Okay, good. Hey there. How you doing? How are you?
Hey, it's a privilege to be here.
Awesome. It's a blessing to have you. So she's been following me for a while. I had someone that was going to read his bio tonight, but the person could not make it. And so I want to say thank you, Queen Linda, for filling in. And if you can, please read Mr. Vail's bio, and then I'm going to bring him on, okay?
I sure will.
Okay.
Chris Vail is a distinguished professional visionary entrepreneur and a strategic investor of over 20 years of dynamic leadership across financial services, business operations, and marketing strategy. Renowned for his innovative thinking and results-driven approach, Chris has demonstrated unparalleled expertise in businesses such as real estate, sports management, B2B services, retail, e-commerce, marketing, and business development. His career is defined by a steadfast commitment to driving growth, fostering innovation, and maximizing profitability for his clients. By seemingly aligning strategic visions with relentless execution, Chris has consistently empowered businesses to secure the resources and opportunities essential for long-term success. In financial services, Chris has established a reputation for delivering exceptional results by cultivating strong partnerships with private lenders, banks, and financial institutions. He has consistently developed tailored funding solutions that strategically align with client objectives. As a real estate expert, he has managed complex investments, including wholesale, fix and flip, and rental projects, successfully overseeing every phase from negotiation and execution and marketing. His leadership in financial program development has consistently yielded impressive returns of 18 to 50% across multiple lending verticals, highlighting his ability to drive tangible value for stakeholders. Chris' marketing acumen is equally impressive. As a digital strategist, he has pioneered impactful campaigns across SEO, social media, advertising, and e-commerce, delivering measurable growth for diverse industries. Notably, during his tenure at Direct Buy, Chris spearheaded a transformational turnaround, generating $12 million in revenue and achieving an extraordinary 300% increase in merchandise sales. His innovative approach to engagement has secured multi-million-dollar sponsorships and partnerships with prestigious organizations such as the NCAA, AAU, and Under Armour, further cementing his influence across sectors. Armed with a bachelor's degree in government and international politics from George Mason University and certifications in e-commerce and Facebook marketing advertising, Chris combines entrepreneurial vision with operational excellence. His proven track record, exceptional expertise, and unwavering commitment to excellence make him a trusted and sought-after partner in the financial and real estate sectors. Whether navigating complex challenges or driving groundbreaking strategies, Chris Vail consistently delivers unparalleled results that elevate businesses to new heights. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Wow. Unbelievable. I want to say this about Chris. I've been knowing him a little while, but I never saw his resume. I didn't see his bio until right now, and I was like, wow, you never knew who was in your company. He's a lot more than I thought he was, but I just know he works excellent, which is very important when you're doing what we're doing. You can't make mistakes. Well, you can make mistakes, but you got to be able to fix them quickly, especially when you're taking funds from folks and you're making promises and you have to deliver on what you promise. And I heard a guy, you guys go look this guy up. He's one of my virtual mentors. His name is Myron Golden. Write that down. Myron Golden. He once said, if you have a product or a service, you need to be able to deliver on it or don't sell it, right? Because your name's at stake. And I've always saw That's how I measure who I want to work with. Can they deliver? Now, they don't have to be perfect. They can make mistakes, but they have to be able to deliver. And that's why I like working with Chris. Um, Miss Queen Linda, somebody said, would you show your face? I was like, I'm not sure she wants to do that. It's too late. That's on her. So everybody doesn't want to show their face, but thank you for doing that for us. Okay. I appreciate it. Now I'm going to have, without further ado, the guy, I don't want to say the myth and the great man. I'm feeding your ego here, sir, but you deserve it. My good friend, Chris Vail. Chris, you can take it over from here, sir.
That's an incredible hard act to follow.
I know, right?
Linda, can I hire you as my professional bio speaker from now on?
Right?
That was
Right?
awesome.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
Linda.
much for that. I'm honored and humbled to be part of this presentation tonight.
Mhm.
As Jimmy mentioned, we've gone back a ways. And I think one of the important things is, before I really kind of go into what we're talking about tonight, is he mentioned making mistakes, right?
Yeah.
If you're not willing to make mistakes, you're not willing to succeed, right?
Right.
I'm sure you've all heard it, but it doesn't matter how many times you fail, as long as you succeed one time, right? And I feel that, I mean, I have no more hands and toes amount of times that I've failed, but as long as you're learning every time you fail, that's what's going to make you better. That's what's going to make you stronger. And ultimately, that's what's going to make you more successful. And the funny part is, in saying that, literally, what, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, I was working with a company that, brought me on as a partner and promised me the world. And I built their systems and everything was going great. And in the drop of a hat, it was gone. Right. No reason, no, thank you so much for what you did, whatever. And I could have easily just crawled into a hole, gave up, and, went and got a 9 to 5 job, whatever. But I don't believe in that. And the funny part about it is, uh, what came out of the next opportunity, which is what we're going to talk about today, is 100 times better than what we were doing before, which was really, really good, right? And Jimmy can attest to that as well. So, with that being said, again, I appreciate the time to speak with you guys tonight. Um, what Jimmy said earlier was, how let me say this. So, one thing that small business owners really don't understand, for the most part, and it's not their fault. It's really the way that they were just kind of trained, or, the thought process, or, when somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to start a business," you're ingrained, from what you've been taught. Okay, I need to, sell as many products, or I need to sell as many services, or I need to sign up as many clients, and they're off and running, right? And you and I both know that, A, it's not that easy. Number two is, there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that is, that is needed in order to be successful as a small business owner. And a lot of times when you're starting that small business out yourself, again, you don't realize that until you've done that. And so now you get pulled away from really the reason you started the business in the first place, right? And so now everything kind of suffers, and now all the decisions you're making are based on survival, right? And unfortunately, when it comes time to needing funding, or when you have an emergency, or God forbid something breaks, or whatever it may be, and you go to get that funding, unfortunately, most people don't get qualified to get it, or get a fraction of what they're looking for to help them out. And so what happens is, either they fold, right? Which, unfortunately, that does happen with hundreds of thousands of businesses every year. Or
Yep.
if they're able to find a lifeline, the debt load that is so heavy literally keeps them on a debt hamster wheel the rest of their lives, and they can never escape it, right?
Right. Right.
And so, my mission, and always has been, is very simple: is to, number one, educate small business owners on why business funding is important, not only in the beginning, which, if you have that ability to get it up front before you start that business, is going to put your business in such a position of strength off the bat. But
Yep.
if you've already started a business, that's okay. We want to make sure that the goal is, you don't want to be working in your business. You want to
Yep.
be working on your business, right? And what I mean by that is when you're working in your business, if God forbid something happens, you're incapacitated or you can't continue,
Yep.
your business fails because you're the business, right? And I think
Right.
everybody would agree that it's okay for that to be their strength, but the goal to really be successful is to have that business operating on its own, surviving, growing, and thriving, right? And that allows you to do other things, take a month off, go on vacation, start another business, buy another property, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And so that's the goal. And so to go back to my first point, unfortunately, most small business owners, A, don't understand the importance of business credit or I'm sorry, business funding, and B, don't understand what the benefits of it are that can actually put their businesses in making decisions based on value as opposed to being making decisions based on survival. So with that being said, one thing that Jim mentioned earlier was, we're going to talk today about how you can basically get up to $1 million in business funding for, in reality, very low cost, right? Number one. And number two,
We lost Chris there. Oh, unless that's my internet. You guys can hear me? It was probably my internet. Guys, if you can hear me, that might have been my internet.
you guys hear me? Okay. Jimmy, are you back? Okay. So I'm going to save all the questions if we can for the end. Cool. Okay, awesome. All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, everybody probably is a small business owner at some point on this call, and that's great. But when it comes to getting business funding, the first question that I always ask my clients are, do you have a fundable business? And just because you have a business doesn't mean it's actually fundable, right? And what I mean by a fundable business is you can take that business and obtain funding that is going to allow you to utilize either working capital or to buy properties or to buy businesses or whatever it may be, right? And unfortunately, most small business owners have LLCs, right? And that's a good thing for a tax side and for asset protection, right? But it's really not good for funding. And the reason why is banks and lenders really don't like providing funding to LLCs. And that's because number one, they're what they are. They're limited liability companies, right? So they're very easy to open, they're very easy to close, they're very easy to switch around. And banks and lenders are looking for stability. They're not looking for volatility, right? And that's why when it comes time to getting funding, why it's very difficult to get funding when you have an LLC. It doesn't mean you're not going to get it, but the amount you're going to get is nowhere near what you would get when you have an actual fundable business, which we'll talk about here in a second. Okay. So once we determine that you don't have a fundable business, which is the majority of small business owners, then let's focus on how do we get a fundable business and how do we actually get funding based on that business, right? So if you're not familiar with shelf corporations, let me talk about that for a second. When I say shelf corporations, it's SHELF as opposed to SHELL. Two completely ends of the spectrum, right? We don't want to confuse the two. We're going to talk about shelf, SHELF, right? These are corporations that have literally been sitting on the shelf for a number of months, a number of years, decades possibly. And so what we're able to do is we're able to get those shelf corporations, transfer those over to the client, making sure that there's no history, everything's a clean slate, there's no liens or anything like that. Because unfortunately, there are companies out there that will sell you shelf corporations that have all of the above on there. And then when everything is transferred over to you, because you're relying on them to do their due diligence, you get stuck with the bill, right? And it could be a lien, it could be a tax lien, it could be a real estate lien, it could be, a myriad of things. But all of the shelf corporations that come through us are all legally and ethically vetted. All the due diligence is done. So, rest assured by the time it comes to you and it's transferred to you, everything is clean. You have a clean certificate of good standing and you have a clean EIN. So it's basically a clean slate. That doesn't mean it's fundable yet. Okay. But it's a start, right? And so once you have that shelf corporation, now we want to make it fundable, right? Now, the way that occurs is most companies that sell these short corporations, they follow what's called the trade line method, right? And our model. And I'm not saying it's bad, but the cons to that side are number one, it takes several months to prepare that corporation just to be able to receive funding, number one. And number two is a lot of times you're not going to be able to get the amount that you're looking for. And I'll talk about why that's the case, right? But as most of you've known, I'm sure everyone has tried to get funding at some point or another. And a lot of times they'll be like, hey, if you have a 680 credit score, we'll get you $150,000 in business credit, no problem. And everybody signs up. And 95% of people, either get a limited amount or none at all, right? And they won't tell you why, but there's a lot of mitigating reasons, which we don't really need to go into today. But that's one of the problems, right? So it's a hook to get you in. And unfortunately, the end result is very disappointing. So then when you're able to actually get a shelf corporation, which again, there's several companies out there, and they sell them, some will sell for really big money, right? Depending on what they're promising you. Some will say, yeah, we can get you 150,000, 250,000, 500,000, a million, whatever it is, right? The key words that they always use that protects them is up to. So they're going to say, we'll get you up to an amount. So when they don't provide you that amount,
Right.
they didn't guarantee it, right?
Yep.
And again, that unfortunately leaves a really bad taste in the small business owner's mouth, number one. And then number two, if they don't get the funding, they're, either going to, stay in debt or they're going to fold. And
Right.
so most of them follow what's called the trade line model, right? And what I mean by that is in order to build that corporation to be fundable, they'll go out and they'll secure a number of trade lines, some net 30s, some net 60s, maybe some vendor credit, maybe some fleet credit, whatever that is. And the goal is to generate a PADEX score, right? And that PADEX score is essentially your credit score for business as opposed to your personal credit score. The goal is to get 80 and above. That's considered good, right? And so there's no fast track to do that because you're making payments on those trade lines and you're waiting for those payments to post and then, create the scores. And once you get up to that, now you're prepared for funding. Well, let's say that you're looking for like $250,000, $300,000 in funding. You want to buy business or real estate or whatever it may be, crypto, whatever it may be, right? So now you go to lenders and you try to get that. And they're looking at your profile and you've got your corporation, you got your seasonality, you've got your trade lines, you got your PADEX score. Everything's great. But now they're looking at it and they're like, okay. So they've literally spent like $4,000 or $5,000 in payments over the past, 3 or 4 months to generate this PADEX score. How do I justify as a lender giving you $250,000? It just doesn't make sense. So instead of that, they'll be like, okay, well, we're willing to give you a chance. We'll give you $25,000 line of credit, whatever it may be. Well, that's a far cry from, getting your $250,000. Again, you're kind of stuck in what you can do. And that up to is how they're able to protect themselves. With our program, it's kind of twofold, right? Is once once you get the shelf corporation, right? If you're ready to move into funding, okay, which is entirely up to you, the first step we're going to do is we're going to see if you can qualify for what we call first tranche offers. Okay, all this is really quick money, basically getting it into you quickly so that if you need money right away while we're working on the capital raise for your shelf corporation, it's a possibility. This will be the only time that the strength of your personal credit is used. Okay. And so everybody is different. What they qualify is different. Some will qualify, some won't. Obviously, it's credit driven. Some will get a little, some will get a lot, right? It's entirely up to the client whether or not they want to accept those offers or not. Originally, they're soft pulls, so they don't hit your credit report. But if you do decide to take up those offers, which could be one or could be many, obviously there would be an effect to your credit report. Once that happens, okay, and you're basically moving into that funding stage, now the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to send out a funding form to really find out how much you're looking for, what you're looking, what you're looking to use the funds for, and are you kind of bringing anything to the table that can help strengthen that amount of funding you're looking for? So for a second. So I mentioned earlier, most companies use a trade line model, right? We focus more on what we call the 3 C's. Capacity, which stands for cash flow, collateral, which are assets, and credit, which are either in the form of business credit or the personal credit from the business owner themselves. Okay. Some have one of those, some have two of those, some have three of those, some have none of those, right? And typically when you have none of those, you're not able to get funding or you're going to get very, very little. All right. When you work with us, we guarantee you a minimum in the agreement that you will receive a guaranteed amount of at least $100,000 in funding. Okay. Now that doesn't mean we're not going to go after a lot more, depending on what you're looking for, but at least at a minimum, that is what the amount is that's guaranteed. Again, nobody else makes that, but it is in our agreement that that will be guaranteed that you will receive that funding. So once you fill out the form, then you meet with a funding specialist. You have that discussion. What am I looking for? How much am I? Do I have any of those? Am I bringing to the table? If you don't, that's okay. We're actually going to put on what's needed for you in order to at least get you that minimum amount of funding. Okay. Typically, that will take about from start to finish anywhere between 30 and 45 days. All right. The only things that are requirements from your part are number one, at the beginning, signing up for the shelf corporation. Typically, once you sign up for that, the shelf corporation is delivered within about 7 to 10 calendar days, sometimes a lot sooner. What we like to do is under promise, over deliver. So once you get that, it also contains a 3-year revenue projection along with a complete done for you business plan for that corporation itself. Okay. And then once you receive that, then you get the application for the first tranche offers. Once you go through the first tranche offers, then you get the intake form to fill out the funding that you're looking for, what you're looking to do with that, and then you have the funding call with the funding specialist. And then after that, they put together the loan package for you based on what you're looking for. Are you bringing anything to the table? Or we have to put that on for you. And then essentially you receive your funding within, as I mentioned, 30 to 45 days from the beginning. Now that's if you're kind of looking for, minimum amount or, a few $100,000. We have another program that Jimmy mentioned, and this is the whole point of the discussion today, but I needed to kind of go through the first part to understand why we get to the second part, right?
Right.
And so the second part is what we call asset-based lending. As Jimmy mentioned, banks do this on an everyday basis, but
Right.
the problem is they normally start at $5 million and up.
Wow.
So all the small, medium-sized small business owners, number one, probably will never need that much money up front. And number two, even if they did, they wouldn't be able to have the qualifications to be able to get a loan like that size, right? So it really, kind of pushes out a huge amount of small business owners that would love to be able to participate in a program like that, and really focuses on large companies, corporations, Fortune 500, things like that. And don't get me wrong, these banks make big money. This is a multi-trillion-dollar operation with asset-based lending.
Right.
A little bit different than typical real estate collateralization, where basically, hey, I've got a house, I need this money, I'm putting up my house, you get that collateral, right?
Okay.
With business assets, when we're talking collateral, it can be property, but it can also be things like 401ks, it can be life insurance policies, it can be stocks and bonds, it can be crypto, it can really be things that anything that can be leveraged for an asset can be used for that type of collateral to obtain a loan. Now, whatever that percentage is going to be is entirely up to the lender, right? And that's what will occur once you have that discussion with the lender. But let's say that the small business owner doesn't have the collateral that is needed to obtain $1 million loan, which again, most don't. If you look at it from an SBA standpoint, right? Because that's typically what everybody understands from a business loan standpoint.
Yeah.
If you were to seek $1 million loan from the SBA, you would have to have at least 10% into that loan, which means to get $1 million, you got to show $100,000 in liquidity. Again, most of them don't have that, right? So first and foremost with our program, we lower the $5 million threshold down to $1 million, right, to start. Now, that doesn't mean you can't go up and up and up and up. But again, we want to open it up to a large segment of the small business owners that normally A, wouldn't be able to qualify, number one, and B, have a smaller amount so they can get started and grow and be able to put their business in a position of strength. Okay. So
Okay.
what happens when the client doesn't have that collateral to be able to qualify? So we are able to secure accounts receivable for them, okay, which they can purchase for a very, very small amount. Most companies are gonna that sell you debt like this will charge you anywhere from 20 up to 50 cents on the dollar. And if you think about it, okay, I need $1 million. I may have to pay, a few $100,000, but I'm getting $1 million. That's not necessarily a bad deal. But again,
Yeah.
most people don't have the money to be able to pay that few $100,000.
Right.
We charge 3 cents on the dollar. Okay. So simply put, to get $1 million of accounts receivable, it's going to cost $30,000, right? So the question is, okay, what if I don't have $30,000? Well, that's where we back up and say that's the whole point of doing the first capital raise is to be able to get at least that minimum $100,000.
Gotcha.
Now we're able to take $30,000 out of that, and that's what allows you to purchase your accounts receivable, right? So why is this important? So the accounts receivable is going to serve as the collateral mechanism for your corporation to be able to get its loan, right? That's part one. After you make your payment to purchase your accounts receivable, it's delivered to you within 3 business days, if not sooner. And basically, it's delivered via Dropbox. You get 100 different accounts at $10,000 each. That's how you get to the $1 million. Okay. Once you purchase this, you own this accounts receivable. Okay. You own $1 million in accounts receivable for your corporation.
That's good.
If you want to go hire a debt collector, or you want to collect it on yourself, or you want to just sit there and do nothing, that's entirely up to you. We don't recommend that, right? We don't advise that, but it's yours and you own it, right? So let's talk about how we're able to leverage that collateral to actually be able to get you that asset-based loan, right? So once you have the accounts receivable, a lender's going to look at that and be like, okay, great, you have $1 million. That's cool. We can work with that. However, are you actually collecting that? How are you actually receiving that money? Because otherwise, it's just literally sitting on your books doing nothing, right? And so that next phase is, before we can apply for the loan itself, is we actually need to start liquidating that accounts receivable for you, which we do, right? And so typically, for a very small nominal fee, right? For $500 an account, typically we're going to recommend you start with 10 accounts. Now, if you want to liquidate all 100 accounts at one time, that's completely up to you. If you have the money to do that, cool. But typically most clients, we recommend they start with 10 accounts. So that would be $5,000, right? Once that payment is made, liquidation begins on your behalf. So we are a licensed, bonded, and insured debt collector. So we're actually collecting these accounts on your behalf for you.
Chris, can I interrupt here? Can I interrupt? So guys, I want you to understand that, like I said before, this is not, you're not just getting something, a piece of paper that doesn't have any substance to it. He's a licensed and bondage debt collector. So this is legit. So you're buying real debt. That's what I want you guys to understand. And I'm gonna let him get going again because I don't want to interrupt him. But understand the first tranche of funding, that's the 100,000. Okay, that we're going to talk about what that would cost, but that's the main thing. You get that funding. You can decide if you want to join the second part he's talking about now. I'm going to recommend that you do, but there's a portion of those funds you're going to take, and like he said, it's pennies on the dollar. So it's 3 cents. I'll let him tell you, but it's 3 cents on every dollar. So $30,000 is going to buy you $1 million of debt. Okay, and that's what we recommend that you do. And then he's going to explain now how to actually be able to get the loan against that debt. That's what he's talking about now, okay? But it's legit. You really have people that owe you money now because you purchased the debt. Do you understand that? Okay, they're a real legit company and they're licensed and insured to do this. All right, back to you, Chris.
Yeah. So once you purchase that AR, you are the creditor. Those debtors now owe you. Okay. And so once we're ready to go forward with the liquidation process, the reason why we paid that $500 for the liquidation per account is we're immediately, once the liquidation begins, we're immediately going to reach out to those debtors and basically say, hey, you owe X amount of dollars. And if you don't pay within a certain amount of time, A, we're going to take you to court. Number two, you're going to pay a heck of a lot more money than what you owe. And number three is, if needed, we will attach a receivership to you. Now, if you don't know what a receivership is, it's pretty close to what the IRS can do, right? The benefit of a receivership is these are actually appointed law firms by the court itself. So if one of your debtors goes all the way to court and has a judgment on them, 9 times out of 10, they're not showing up to court, right? So they have the judgment put on them. Well, now we're able to take that judgment and have it and have the court appoint the receivership. Once that receivership is attached to that debt, there's a lot of things that they can do that most debt collectors can't. For instance, they can do wage garnishments, they can do liens, they can place liens on properties and things like that, right? That most debt collectors are not able to do. And because of that, it puts even more pressure on the debtor to either A, pay that debt or, renegotiate a price or whatever it may be. Now, we average about an 80% collection rate, which is way higher than most debt collectors. And the reason we're able to do that is you have your account. So you have your $10,000 account that's due, right? Well, we also put on fees and things like that. So by the time that the debtor gets their bill, it's a heck of a lot higher than what's owed to you. The reason why is now if they're able to negotiate a lower payment, that payment is still going to be significantly higher than if we started with a normal amount and then worked our way down, right? So you're going to get paid before any of our legal expenses or attached fees or anything like that is. And that's why we're able to collect such a high amount. So if you think about it, you pay $5,000 for liquidation to begin. As I stated earlier, we recommend starting with 10 accounts, and that's done for 2 reasons. Number one is you're now having $100,000 of your AR being liquidated, right? And so if you look at 80% collection rate, that $100,000 is going to come back to you at $80,000 in money, right? It's going to come into your account. Now, how long that's going to take, that's anybody's ball game, right? Some is going to happen quick. Some is going to happen longer. Some is actually, unfortunately going to take it to the extreme and have to go to court and receiverships, things like that, right? Ultimately, by the time you liquidate all of your accounts receivable, typically it will take about 2 to 3 years to be able to liquidate all of that for you, okay? And collect approximately about 80% of that for you. We'll talk about why that's important in a second, but if you just look at the $5,000, so essentially it's $500 per account, you're paying for the court costs to be able to take it to that level if it needs to go there, right? You're paying $5,000 for $100,000 in receivables. It's collected at an 80% rate, so you're collecting $80,000 for $5,000. I don't know about you, but that's kind of a no-brainer in terms of what that, whatever a few thousand ROI percentage would be. But I'm pretty sure if you, approached anybody on the street and said, hey, if you give me $5,000, I'll give you $80,000.
It's a no-brainer.
I'm pretty sure they'd find a way to come up with it, right?
Yeah, we know money, but I'm pretty sure you guys know too. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, even look at a low amount, right? Let's say that the collection rate was only 20%, right? So for that $5,000, you would still receive $20,000 in receivables, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's still a 400% return on investment. Again, pretty much anybody's going to take a 400% return on investment, but obviously we're much more higher than that. So once that liquidation is started, about a week after, okay, is now when we actually apply for the asset-based loan, because now we have our collateral, now we've started liquidating, and then typically with the lender, it takes about 30 to 45 days to receive the funding. Well, that whole time while your loan is in process, that liquidation is ongoing, right? So by the time that loan hits, you've already got, hopefully at least half, maybe, again, 20%, whatever it may be, is going to be collected and sitting in your bank account, which shows lenders, hey, there's money's actually coming in. Because lenders only care about 2 things, right? How much you want to borrow,
right?
How much am I going to make on it, and when am I going to get paid back? And it doesn't matter if it's a bank, a private lender, or a Joe Blow investor, whatever it is. Those are the 3 things they care about, right?
So Chris, hold right there.
What their risk is.
So Chris, let me say this. Okay, I try to think of what they're thinking in their head and they're not saying out loud. So if I was listening in, I would think, so you're saying once we get that 100,000, we put you to work, we invest that 30,000 to get that $1 million in receivables. You're going to go to work. If we pay you that fee, you're going to go to work and start collecting on the debt while we're waiting for the big loan. Is that right? Right? Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. All right.
Now, here's where it gets really cool, as if it wasn't already cool before.
Okay.
Now you have your loan, right? 30, 45 days, now you have your loan, okay? Obviously, anybody that has a loan has a payment to that loan. I can't tell you what it is. I'm not the lender. I don't know the interest rate. I don't know if you're doing a line of credit, if you're doing a lump sum, if you're doing a combination. That's all between you and the lender, right? But at some point, you're going to have that loan, you're going to have that money. So the beauty of the liquidation process is not only to help you secure that loan along with the collateral, but it's also going to go towards making your payments on that loan for the first 2 to 3 years.
That's good.
Okay.
That's good.
So all of that money that's being paid for you on your behalf for that first couple of years is giving you even more opportunity to utilize the money you're getting, where normally you would be paying that back as any other normal company making a loan payment. So that's really, even a bonus is we're actually giving you payment assistance on actually making your loan payments for you for that first couple of years through the liquidation that's taking place.
And Chris, and the thing that we've been doing this a long time. I've helped a lot of people get a lot of funding. So has Chris. In fact, I have someone on here now. He's been with me about 6 years, Charles Johnson. You don't have the same thing, Charles, but I've got Charles about, I don't know, close to 400K, 350. Back in 2021, he went and bought real estate with it. He found an asset producing product. But most people, when they get that kind of money, if you don't know how to leverage it, I don't want you to get into more debt. So you have bad debt and good debt, but good debt is when you leverage it. And what he's saying is when you get the money, there's already a system in place where the first couple of years, you don't want to be, defaulting on payments. I mean, because, you want to be able to do this again. That's another question. Chris, can we rinse and repeat this? Let's say I come back and say, hey, Chris, I want another $1 million in debt, for another 30,000, because now I'm thinking like the bank. You know what I mean? Can we do that?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a great question. So
okay.
Let's say, crypto, real estate, whatever it is. Let's say somebody wants to buy an apartment building, right?
Yeah.
And you've already gone through the process. You start out with $1 million. And again, whatever amount you want to start with, just factor basically 30,000 per $1 million, right? Because it's going to come in tranches of portfolios of $1 million. Okay. So now let's say you identify an apartment complex, let's say it costs $5 million, right? So normally, right, if you were doing this the first time, that would cost you $150,000 to get the 5 million. But let's say you get your first $1 million, right? You got that loan. Now you can take the 150,000 out of that loan to secure the next $5 million.
That's good.
And so, as Jimmy said earlier, using other people's money for your advantage and applying good debt that's what very wealthy individuals do, and even corporations, right? You could look at, like, say, people don't understand this, but like, look at Apple, right? They're a $1 trillion company. But if you ever look at their debt, what they owe, it's almost about $1 trillion.
There you go.
Right? And so if it was ever called, which it never would be, but God forbid if it was ever called, obviously they would, they'd be in a lot of trouble, but they know how to utilize the debt in order to, build their revenue. And so, so in reality, right, the cost of the program to get the guaranteed funding, or whatever funding you're looking for, but at least that minimum guaranteed, is the same. You're not spending any more to be able to go asset-based lending and get $1 million, right? Because if you have to leverage your minimum amount to pay for that accounts receivable, you're still using other people's money. You're not using your money, right? And then obviously when you get that funding, you would pay that initial funding back, right? So you only have that one fund. In terms of fees, right? The only thing, and this is how most funding companies make their money, is when a client receives funding, then we collect what's called a performance fee. And that's pretty standard across the industry. You can check and do due diligence, but there is a 10% funding fee or performance fee or whatever you want to call it that is collected after you receive your funding. So if we don't provide you any funding, we don't collect any money. So obviously we're really good at what we do. We want to get you as much money as possible so that we're able to collect, that performance fee as well. Now, one thing I just want to point out real quick, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Okay, great. You got your funding. Now what, right? Anybody can burn a hole like that with all that money, right? Because it's a lot of money, don't get me wrong. And especially most small business owners would never fathom having that much money available to them. So the other part of what we do is once you've received that funding, now let's strategize. What are your goals? What are your wants? What are your needs? So that we can ensure that that money grows for you, right? Not only grows for you for funding purposes so that you never have to worry about needing funding whenever it's available. Now your businesses are making decisions based on growth and value, right? No longer they're making decisions based on survival. And what do we do with that funding to ensure that your businesses are always going to be in a position of growth, right? And so that's where the other part of our company comes in is, this isn't a, hey, you signed up and you're a client and you're going to pay us a performance fee and, you may hear from us once every 6 months or whatever. Jimmy can attest that, at some point you'll probably have to say, leave me alone. You're talking to me too much. Sorry.
Exactly. Right,
But,
right.
we're with you every step of the way, not only to advise you on putting you in the position to get the funding you're looking for, but then after you are able to get that funding, okay, what are the next steps to ensure your success years and decades to come? So
Absolutely.
that's how the program works.
Yep.
Happy to answer any questions.
All right. And before he does that, let me just recap. And guys, let me talk about the fee because there's two phases. He explained it. The first part is you getting up to 100,000. That's where we come in first. We buy the corporation, we build it out. That's what, not we, but them, but you're coming through my company because we're partnering together on this. And then within 4 to 6 weeks, 45 days, you get that first round of funding, that 100,000. You can decide at that point if you want to reinvest 30,000, which is the 3 cents on the dollar for the debt you're buying, to go for the big funding. All right. But you have to get in the program first, right? So the program itself for Mastermind people that's a part of the Mastermind group, it's normally $20,000. Okay, and the reason it's 20,000 is because of what we have to do, all of the work that we do to get you that 100,000. All right. But I will let you guys get in for 10,000 up front. And you can do the 10,000 after once you get your funding. All right. What else? One other thing I want to do is some of you have been asking me about the digital asset protection trust that you can protect your Bitcoin and all that. Well, I'm going to throw that in there for free because I think that's a very important asset for you to have when you get this kind of funding. All right. You can put Bitcoin in it. It's for crypto, and I'm going to have Alan structure. I'm not sure if you guys saw that presentation with Alan, but he was very particulars of what he can do with these trusts. But he's going to build the trust for your assets with digital assets and personal assets or physical assets like real estate. So again, it's 20,000 for everybody else up front. With you guys, it's 10,000 up front. And you pay the rest on the back. And I'm going to give you a free asset protection trust to go along with it. The trust takes about 10 to 15 days. Once you guys pay, we'll build it and set it up. But then when you pay that 10K, Chris and his team, they get to work. All right. And then going into the second month, you'll get that first tranche of 100,000. So you're literally after that, it's out of profit, but not out of pocket. But the first 10K has to be out of pocket because we have certain fees and things we have to do. Okay. But I will add in now, the asset trust, I'm normally charged between 5 and 10K. But I've been kind of thinking about it. And even though we may lose a little profit, that's okay. I want to make sure you guys have everything you need. Okay. So if you have a good trust, that's an irrevocable trust that covers for real estate all the way to Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, just crypto altogether, because these big payouts are coming with Cryptex, and you want to be in position to do something with it. This is a game changer. So I will do that for you guys. But having said that, now you know what the fees are. I'll open it up for everyone to ask questions to Chris. Okay. I'll mute everyone.
Can I just
here.
say one more thing real quick, Jim?
Sure.
So the other thing to think about, right, is we talk about, okay, having to get that initial capital raise of $100,000 and then, moving on to the asset-based loan. Well, let's say in that first, let's say you have really, really good credit, right? As I talked about earlier. If you have really, really good credit, when it comes to that first tranche offers, not the capital raise, the first tranche offers, right? Which is based on your credit, it's
Right.
possible that you could qualify to get enough money
Right.
that you don't need
Right.
the initial capital raise. And that accomplishes
Absolutely.
two things, right? Number one, it allows you to go straight into the ABL, right? And number two is it allows you to save a month and a half in time, because if we have to go get the original, or I'm sorry, get the first capital raise for you, that takes a time period, right? And then if we have to, obviously, second phase is the asset-based lending, that
Mm-hmm.
obviously takes time too. If you're in a
Right.
position that you qualify for an offer to be able to finance that payment up front where you don't need that capital raise, right? You're eliminating that first time period of almost 30 to 45 days, and you're going straight into the ABL. So I just wanted to make sure you guys
Good.
understood that opportunity as well.
Awesome. Yeah. So he's basically saying, guys, you can, and we just did it for someone else who had pretty decent credit. We was able to get them enough to get started in the program where they didn't come out of pocket at all. They just leveraged their credit. All right. Because we want you guys to do this. Some of you, I talked to some of you, you're like, you want to quit your jobs. And I told you, you never quit your job until you have at least 2 or 3 times the income coming in. Well, if you can borrow $1 million, then, when you have a business mind, we can show you how to leverage, $200,000, pay yourself a little salary, and then you grow your business and you buy $100,000 in Bitcoin. Okay. But we'll show you how to do that. But $1 million changes a lot, is what I'm saying. I'm trying to unmute you guys. Let's just see. But okay. So go ahead and ask questions to my brother here. He's ready.
I know I had a question. I
Sure.
know Jimmy was saying you were saying it cost 10,000 to get in that program.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like a good program to get into. I don't have $10,000.
Okay. All right. So see, you either you can get in if you get finance, if you have good credit. If not, we can work with the lowest we can work with is a $5,000 deposit. We can't go any lower, and then we can put you on a payment plan. But that's the lowest we can go with this. Okay. Again, we have to go out and buy the corporation. There's what's the word I'm looking for here? There's things that have to be done behind the scenes. There's people we hire. Okay. Chris has a whole team, and I have a whole team too. So we call it services rendered for the work that's put in. Right. But it's well worth it. So that's the key. $5,000 as low as we'll go, and we can finance the rest. Okay. Or if you have good credit, then you get with us after this call. We'll figure out a way to send you the application so you can apply for funding. Right.
My credit is bad, and I don't have 5,000.
Okay. All right. So Richard, you would not be a good candidate at this time. All right.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay. Next question. Trying to unmute you guys. I'm not really good at this here. This is where I need my queen to help me.
So if we
Hello? Who's that? Is that Mr. Cola?
is that correct, Jimmy?
Oh, yes. Oh, I can
This
hear
is
you.
Brad. I'm just
Hey,
saying.
Brad.
So
Hey, Brad, what's
with
going
the
on?
with
Mhm.
the 10,
Mhm.
not too bad. So with the 10,000, that pretty much guarantees our 100,000 within 45 days, something like that.
That's a question for my man. Go ahead, brother. You can answer that.
So yeah, so that payment, right, is going to produce the fundable shelf corporation for you, right? And it's going to start the funding process to be able to again go that capital raise. But if in that first tranche offers you get enough qualified, again, depending on your credit or what you get,
Yeah.
you can, you know, not eliminate that, but you can put that to the side, because the whole purpose of the initial capital raise is if you need it to move forward with the asset-based lending, right?
Sure.
The whole purpose of the asset-based lending is, to be able to accomplish what you're looking for. So if we have to go the initial capital raise, then yeah, that will guarantee a minimum of $100,000. But if you qualify in those first tranche offers for more, and you take it and want to do it because it's entirely up to you, then there's no reason for us to get first tranche, or I'm sorry, to get that initial capital raise when we're already moving into the asset-based loan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Brad's a good guy, man. He signed up with me in Cryptex and he wants to change. You know, he wants more time with his family, etc. I'm not going to put his whole business out there. I'm just saying he can use something like this. Brad, this could be the key. You know, to changing
Yeah.
your life financially. All right.
I hear you.
Yep. Not just you. I'm sure a lot of people. And if you're not working full time in business, and let me tell you, working full time in business is it's an 18-hour a day thing until you get on the right side of the cash flow quadrant. If you ever look at the Robert Kids, you read the book. I think what is it? Rich Dad Poor Dad. You have that. If you're on the left side, if you're an employee, which is the E, and then you're self-employed, which is the S, you may have some money, but you don't have time. We're trying to get on the right side of this thing, where the big business at the top with the B, or the big shot investor at the bottom. Well, we're all big shot investors with Cryptex, but we got to wait, 2 and 3 and 5 years. Well, the big business side, that's gonna allow you to maybe leave your job, but do not leave your job until you know you have that income. Okay.
Yep.
Next question. Brad, do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that should do it. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, by the way, Brad, did you get in your account and all that stuff, or no?
I have not yet tried yet.
Okay.
I'm traveling right now, so
Okay, be safe on the
I'm
road.
open
Okay.
tonight, but I will try. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, please.
Hello, Jimmy.
Hey there.
So yeah, I do hope it's worth a shot here at asking this.
Hey
I
there,
hope that
Courtney.
this
How
is
are
good.
you? Okay.
Oh, I'm great.
Great. Fine.
Yeah, so I actually have really good credit.
Okay.
I was wondering if you had any partners though, where I can
hmm
see if I can get funding for the first $10,000.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah,
All
you
right.
know.
So that's what Chris is going to do. He's my partner. He's a funding mastermind. He knows how to do it. So he has a system where you fill out an application, and he can get you some. If it's really good, we can get you some pre-offer, get you pre-qualified for a certain amount. If it's pretty good, we'll figure that out. It's pretty fast funding too. So that will be so. Chris, you could do that for her, right? When you say good credit, you mean like
Yeah.
what 680 or something like that or higher?
Oh, it's higher.
Okay,
It should be in the 700 range,
that's good.
actually.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. So yeah, we will look. We'll just contact me afterwards. You got my email. Respond back, and I'll get you connected with Chris so he can send you the application. So we more than likely we can get you some funding. We just got some funding too with the same situation. We put them in this program. They didn't have to come out of pocket. So we could probably do the same thing for you. All right.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. It's so awesome to hear people that follow me. They email me now. Hear your voice. You know what I mean? Man, you guys got to come to ATL soon so we can meet. All right.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That would be awesome.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, email us right away if you can, so I can get it over to him tonight or tomorrow. Okay.
Oh, okay. I'll definitely do that.
Awesome. All right. Great. Next question. Mr. Ruiz, you have a question for me? I see my good friend Curtis Sally. He came on last time talking about Bitcoin. Any of you guys have anything you want to say? Any questions for us?
I have another question.
Okay.
If I want to change my credit card with that $9 a month crypto,
Uh-huh.
how will I change that to another card?
Well, what we need to do is I need to cancel your current subscription. I'll have someone in customer service cancel it, and I'll send you a link. You just resubscribe again for the following month.
Okay.
Yeah, because somebody hacked into my credit card I had on file. Now I want to close this one down and change it to another card.
Okay. Okay.
Good
So-
evening. I have a question.
Okay. Hey, Carter.
How's
what's up?
everybody doing?
My
Good, how are
man.
you?
My man. What's going on?
I
Mhm.
appreciate the presentation. Everything sounds very interesting.
Okay.
For this first tranche, it sounds, I understand everything for getting the capital for the 100,000.
Okay.
There's 10%, 10,000 on the front end, and then 10,000 on the back end. Okay.
That's correct.
And so, say I have 90,000, and then I have an option between going into phase 2. My question is, do we have an option of repeating the first phase and scaling up on that 90,000, let's say we have? Okay, because we could go into the second option of putting the 30,000 down and going for the million. But if the first option is a guarantee, is there a way to scale that up a little bit more to kind of, to fatten the,
You're a
you know,
numbers guy, brother. You're a numbers guy, and that's a question for Chris because he's the one that's kind of running the show here. Chris, what do you
So,
think?
it's a good question, right? And I don't want you to think that one has to do with the other, right? Because they are two separate programs. You may say, you know what? I don't need $1 million. Like I would never use it, whatever. I don't want to have the burden or whatever it may be. When we talk about the minimum amount, that doesn't mean that if you say, hey, I need, I'm trying to get, $350,000, that doesn't mean we're not going to work to try to get you $350,000. Where the minimum $100,000 guarantee comes in most cases, it's when clients have no cash flow, no collateral, no credit whatsoever. And
Gotcha,
so they
gotcha.
wouldn't be able to get funding either way, right? And so even if we have to start out small and get them that minimum capital raise and then build it from there and build it from there and build it from there, okay, in order to get them at least that minimum to get started, we're going to do that, right? But if you say, when that intake form comes out and you say, hey, I need, I'm looking for $350,000 and, I've got a house or I've got a 401k or I've got, a business that's generating $10,000 a month or whatever it may be, that's all going to help strengthen the ability to get the amount of funding you're looking for. If you choose to do the asset-based lending, that's a completely separate program. Just wanted to show how you could utilize one to get to the other if you didn't have those resources yourself.
Okay.
Did that answer your question?
Somewhat.
Okay.
Let me see if I can kind of maybe specify what I mean. So let's say I don't have credit or collateral or anything to come to the table except for 5 to 10,000 for the first phase. Okay. So I go through the first program, and let's say my goal is $1 million that I need to put towards my businesses. Okay. So if my goal is $1 million, but I don't have the credit or collateral, I think I understand the importance of going through the first to get that first 100,000. Okay.
Right.
Now I'm just trying to figure out the best route to get to the million without, being burdened with chasing after the debt and all those other things. I understand that you all will be doing that portion, but I'm not too familiar with that program, and it sounds like a little bit more of a liability there.
You mean with the accounts receivable?
Right. I'm just not as familiar with that. I mean, I understand it, because
Right.
that is something, it's collateral and the bank sees it as that. But just the way that I think, I don't really like dealing with banks and regulation and all those other things. So I'm
I
just trying to
gotcha.
figure out how can we get to the funding without as much liability when I'm not as comfortable with dealing with it.
Well, so when you're talking about when you're talking about the $1 million loan, right? That is an asset-based loan. So there
Mhm.
has to be collateral in order to qualify. Either you're bringing it to the table, right? Could be properties, could be whatever it may be, assets, whatever it may be. But if you don't have it, this is a mechanism that allows you to essentially buy it at
Mhm.
a fraction of the cost of what it would normally cost you, right?
Mhm.
And then once you had that, now we need to liquidate that for two reasons. Number one is we need to show the bank or the lender that money's actually coming in, right, from this accounts receivable. Number one. And number two is that money that's actually being collected for you is going to serve as your loan payment for the first few years. So where normally you're going to get a loan, right? And your payment's going to be, I don't know, let's say your payment is $7,000 a month, whatever it is,
Mhm.
right? Well, normally you're going to be responsible for making that loan payment just like you would for any other loan. The difference is for that first couple of years, that payment is being made on your behalf because the collateral that you bought, so to speak, the AR, is actually being liquidated to produce income for you to be able to make that loan payment on your behalf. So it's
Okay.
just buying you even more opportunity for money to use however you see fit to grow, right? Or buy another property or business or crypto or whatever it may be, as opposed to normally you would have to be making that out of pocket expense, for that loan payment itself. Does that help clarify it?
So you would manage that portion of it for, let's say, a few years,
Yeah,
And
so
then,
typically, so once you do the again, we recommend starting out with 10 accounts, right? To start liquidating because we have to show the process to the lender. Okay.
Mhm.
Once you get the loan, right, then you're going to want to liquidate the rest so that we can be liquidating that on your behalf for that next few years for a time period to come. So
Okay.
constantly that money is coming in, and that's about how long it takes from start to finish to collect it.
Okay. So let's say we have the 100,000 and then we decide to go with phase two with let's say we have about 90,000 or so, and then we 30,000 for the second phase. Is that about right?
For the asset-based loan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So then we have 60. Okay. And then you all would manage that the first couple of years of liquidation.
Yeah, we're going to liquidate that on your behalf for you.
Okay.
So the reason why you're paying the $500 account for liquidation is A, to if we need to take it all the way to court, that's already been justified, right? Through the payments. And B, whatever we're able to collect on your behalf is then going to be paid to you and your corporation's account.
The $500 per account, is that part of the 30,000 or is that additional?
No, that's separate. That's for the liquidation of the accounts, however many you want to do, right?
Okay.
So if you liquidate $1 million, it's going to cost $50,000.
Got
Most
you.
people don't have $50,000 to pay for it up front, nor do you need to do that because of the time period it's going to take, right? All we
Right.
need to do right now is show the lender, hey, this process has begun, monies are starting to come in. Again, they're looking for risk tolerance. They're looking to make sure that it's a safe bet for them, right?
Right.
So after you get the asset-based loan, now you can go back and purchase the rest of those accounts to have them liquidated because you have the money to do that. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. So we have 60, let's say from the first phase,
Mhm.
and then 500 per account would be 5,000
Yeah,
for the
if you
10
do the
account.
first 10 accounts, yes. Yep.
Okay. So for the first 10, additional 5,000. So let's say we're at 55, more or
Yep.
less, right?
Yep.
Okay. And are there additional funds coming in from these payments that would come to me, or is
Yeah,
that come
the
down the
payments
line?
that are coming from when we liquidate the accounts and a debtor pays, that
Mhm.
money is going into your bank account.
Can you give me an average of like what type of payments will we see, maybe more or less?
Well, if you're liquidating the first $100,000, which is 10
Right.
accounts,
Right.
and we're averaging 80% collection rate,
Okay.
that's $80,000. Now,
That's
I
a good
can't
number,
tell you
yeah.
how long it's going to take to
Right.
get there, right? But if you look at each one of those, segments of 10 accounts each, right? When you liquidate that and you factor, okay, that's what I should receive over that period of time,
Mhm.
you can see how it's very, very powerful from a collection standpoint because literally all of that money is being helped to pay off the loan that you're
Right.
getting. So that's even more opportunity for the money that normally you'd be paying outright for the loan payments
Right.
to be able to utilize for buy more crypto or real estate or businesses or
Mhm.
whatever it may be.
Right.
So it's
So
just
you
more
would
opportunity costs in general.
so you manage the liquidation piece, and you would also manage the whole banking piece as far as being qualified for going to funding. Is that right?
So when you get your corporation, right?
Right.
That's corporation. Eventually, you're going to want to open a bank account for it,
Right. Mhm.
preferably before liquidation starts, but you don't have to, right? If you have a business account right now that money
Mhm.
can go into, and then later on you open your corporation account and now you transfer the money to it,
Mhm.
it's still showing income, right? It's still showing revenue coming into the corporation, and that's what lenders care about is seeing that happen, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the liquidation part where we're collecting those debts on your behalf the whole time,
Right.
we're doing that for you.
Okay.
Okay. When the money goes into your account, you decide what you want to do with it. If you
Mhm.
don't want to make that monthly loan payment, whatever it may be, and you want to use it for something else, that's entirely up to you, but you're going to be responsible for that loan payment when it's due.
Mhm.
And so it would be kind of silly not to utilize that for that reason. because it's offsetting the expenses that you're going to owe anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And for not having to make that payment, you are now able to utilize those funds elsewhere from the loan, not from the liquidation, right?
I got you. Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? The difference of the two?
So we would basically get the entire liquidation amount and then take the pay the loan as well. And then the difference
Yeah,
we would
so you're gonna get the money liquidated, right?
Right.
Roughly about 80%, 80 cents on the dollar. Okay.
Right.
So if you're paying $5,000 and collecting $80,000, that's really, 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 really good, right?
Mhm.
Because your loan payment may be, I don't know, again, depends on what the rates are. Are you taking lines of credit? Are you doing lump sum? It's all different, right? But let's say your loan payment is $15,000, whatever it is, right? But that first month we collect $35,000 for you. Okay. The good news is you already have your literally the next few months paid for, and it just continues to collect for you.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, not only is your loan payments, paid off, but what you're growing from the loan itself, because you're not having to pay out of pocket for those expenses, it's literally, instead of really getting $1 million, you're really getting more like $1.8 million.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And
right?
There's never issues with taking care of the liquidation as well. We never like go in any months without being able to collect.
No, now keep in mind, if you want to do it yourself, that's totally up to you.
No, I
I
don't.
wouldn't recommend it. And it seems kind of silly, but you'd be surprised. Some people just think they can do it better, differently, and all go for it. And then they find out the hard way, it's not as easy as it looks, right?
Right.
Number one. And then number two is, if you go out and hire another debt collector, you're more than welcome to do that too. But when they collect 40 cents on the dollar and we're collecting 80 cents on the dollar, not really sure why you'd want to do that, right? So,
Right.
I don't mean this in a bad way, but a lot of times what gets clients in trouble is when they get in their own way.
Right.
If they just follow the process and the advisement that we set up for them and the strategies,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be way more successful than trying to do it on their own. And then that way you can just focus on buying crypto, buying properties, buying businesses, going on a vacation, whatever you want to do. That's the whole point, right?
Now, last question. I'm sorry to take up so much time, guys. Is this something that is going to be going on indefinitely, or is there a limit to this program ending, or can we repeat the process?
Like I said, this is a multi-trillion-dollar industry with banks, so it's not going away anytime soon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hello,
Hi, Linda.
Right. Hey, Linda, what's up?
I've got a question. It seems like I read that you have a company that helps with
I'm sorry about that, y'all.
personal credit.
Oh,
That would be
credit repair.
that would
Yes,
be
yes, yes, ma'am. I do credit repair. Yep, that's
yeah,
another
that'd be a
segment. What we
great
do.
thing.
Yes,
That'd be a
ma'am.
great thing.
Okay.
I'll send you an email to ask you more about that.
Okay. So you need credit repair. I got you. We got you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. You better believe it. And thanks again. You did a great job with this bio. My gosh, he want to hire you.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you on as my personal bio speaker person.
Chris,
Oh,
Chris, you cannot have Linda. I'm sorry. Okay, being funny.
sure.
But anyway, but I appreciate it. So Linda, I'll be in touch. Okay.
Sounds great.
Okay. Carter, you are a computer man. That's great. I love it. More questions, the better. But a businessman is sharp and wants to be wealthy. You got to ask questions that most people are not willing to ask. That's how you get to the bottom of things. But that's great. Good stuff, man. Who else is next? I wanted to stop at 8:30, but we'll stay as long as you guys need us to get these questions ironed out. Anybody else?
Eric had his hand up.
Oh, okay. Eric, where is he at? Oh, okay. Eric, can you unmute yourself, sir? I just sent you a request to do that. My man, Eric. Just did a coaching call with him yesterday. Yesterday or Wednesday? Wednesday. Can you unmute, sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
I got you. Yes, sir.
So this is all like I know I got to learn this. This is a different language all for me. Like a lot of things flew over my head, but
Okay.
let's start with what is liquidation?
Mhm. What is liquidation?
The liquidation is basically we're collecting the debt
Right.
on your behalf.
Right.
Okay, you're collecting and then is this and that is that debt bringing, I guess, income or like, or is it a collection company?
So we are a licensed bonded and insured debt collector. So that's why we're able to do that for you when
Okay.
you pay that $500 per account. Because that lets us take it as far as it needs to go all the way, if we have to get a judgment or not.
Okay, I'll probably have to
But
watch this replay again. Okay. And then you said you start out with 10 accounts and is that correct?
Yeah, that's the recommendation. You can certainly start off with more, but it's twofold, right? Number one, most people don't have, a lot of extra capital just to start the process, number one. And number two is we don't need to show the lender that we're, that we've, because first of all, we're not going to be able to do it, right? That we've been able to liquidate all those accounts because that's not going to happen in that time frame. So just utilizing a piece of it so that we can show that the collections have begun and in most cases have already started collecting revenue is what the lender's looking for.
Okay. And I guess just one what is it called? Just another question here. I guess whoever can answer. I mean, because this is all like new to me, like borrowing, getting debt, using good debt. I mean, what resources can I read so that I can educate myself more or less? Because I mean, the thought of using debt is kind of scares me because it's a new concept for me. But I want to learn so I can be informed. What should I start reading or what resources should I start? I mean, obviously being here is what's going to help me out, but so that I can start, understanding this a little bit better because it's kind of a little bit intimidating and I don't want to stay in that zone though, like just being scared. I want to learn and educate
Yeah,
myself.
so keep in mind, Eric, that most companies that will, because there's companies out there, right? They'll sell you the debt, okay, but they won't collect it for you, right?
Right.
And then you got to find another company that will actually collect it on your behalf, or you have to do it yourself, right? And so typically, on average, they're going to be somewhere between 40 to 50 cents on the dollar, right? Not only are we providing you the collateral, the accounts receivable or the debt, whatever you want to call it, for literally pennies on the dollar, which is a fraction of what a lot of other companies charge, but then for a very minimal amount, we're also collecting it on your
Oh,
behalf at a very, very high rate.
oh no, I didn't mean not to find not to find another company to do
Oh,
it
no,
for
it's
me.
okay.
I
Yeah,
was
but
saying like, how do I
you want
get
to do your due
educated so that
diligence
I
and
can?
find out if this is something that, is out there. And yes, there are companies out there that, because again, let's take the small business, let's take an SBA loan, right? If you needed, if you want $1 million loan, right, you're going to need $100,000 in liquidity or some sort of collateral that you can justify. Well, if you don't have it, you may have to buy it. And this is the easiest thing to buy because you certainly just can't go out and buy a house, right, to use as collateral. So this is kind of the easiest thing to purchase that can be leveraged as collateral to obtain loans.
Oh, okay, or kind of like my question is like, because I've read the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, Robert Kiyosaki, where he talks about kind of using debt, but to me, it's like I guess not trying to like trying to learn it all before I take action, but kind of like what resources can I use so that I can learn more about good debt and things like that. That's more like I guess an elementary question.
So,
That's what I was trying to get to.
so,
Yes.
so let me step in. So what I'm going to do is and guys, if you're part of the secret group, I do one-on-one coaching with you. All you got to do is just click on the link and talk to me. Sign up for a date. I will do a call with you. I did a call with him on Wednesday. So here's what we're going to do, Eric. And I told you this. You have to focus on one thing at a time and to go back to everything we talked about on Wednesday. Okay.
Yes.
Because one of the biggest enemies of success is confusion or being overloaded with things. All right. So,
Yes.
so my advice is go back to what we talked about next Wednesday.
Okay.
Write down your questions. If you want to learn this industry, we can learn. I'm going to tell you where to go to get the training. Okay. So I want to mentor you one step at a time. So we'll talk. So the short answer is wait till next Wednesday till we talk again, and we'll talk.
Okay.
All right.
And Eric, let me give you a simple answer to your question, right, about Robert Kiyosaki when he talks about debt, right? Any debt that allows you to generate revenue is good debt.
Okay.
Mic
All
drop.
right.
Mic drop.
Simplest answer.
Thank you.
I'm gonna drop my mouse here. Boom. Okay. Bad
All
debt
right,
is where
thank you.
you can't.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Any other questions, guys? Thanks a lot, Eric.
I have another question.
Okay.
On the
My man.
crypto for $9.99,
Mm-hmm.
the crypto one. What if I get somebody that wants to invest $100
Mm-hmm.
in the crypto? How would I get like where the link at? I can give them
Invest $100 in what? What
in
you?
crypto the crypto that for
Cryptex?
$9.99.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Cryptex is not, well, my program is $9.99 per month. So if they want to pay month to month, they can do that. But you're not talking about Cryptex, are you? Because Cryptex contracts are $100 each. Are you talking about that or no?
Yeah, I'm talking about that. If they want to
right.
invest $100 in no contracts.
All right. So what you got to do, and I talked about it in the video, they need to sign up underneath you. Give them your affiliate link. When they sign up, I have like 20 videos on how to do this, how to do that. And I talk about how to actually go and buy your first contract. So the first step is reach out to them, have them sign up under your affiliate link. I have a video that shows you where to find it. And then they need to go ahead and, add crypto to their wallet. Okay. If they have a problem, because you haven't done this yet either. I don't think you've bought your first contract yet. If you have trouble figuring it out, you guys can send me the money and I'll buy the Bitcoin for you and then send it directly to you through internal transfer. So you can have your contract and they can too. Those are the steps. All right. This program you're in now, this is a private group, private mastermind, which is $9.99 per month. So if you want to refer someone, I can send them the link. Just let me know. All right.
Oh, okay. You kind of to get that link at to send them.
Okay. I'll email it to you. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right. Great. Thanks, Richard. Anybody else? Don't leave unless you guys absolutely sure. We're here. That's what we're here for. One thing I learned about success is you could be going for 5 or 10 years and not really finding something that can really change your life. Then that one thing comes like Cryptex or something like this can change your life. And, all you gotta do is take a step of faith. So that's why I do this. But there's no one else. We're going to just stop right here, guys, and call it a night. All right.
That's what I like. Take a step of faith.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, the giant step. It's a giant step of faith.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Richard. So email me back. Okay, Carter. Okay, awesome.
Now, I think you may have already mentioned this, but I asked about the first phase. Can we do that more than once?
The first phase. Chris, he's asking you the $100,000 tranche, right? Okay. Right. Chris, what do you say to that?
So I guess the question would be, why would you want to?
Just having more options. I mean,
I think I can answer this for you.
Leverage more, then I just wasn't sure or not.
Okay, so the word of wisdom just came from me from on high. Thank you, Father. So what we need to do is, he's a little different type of client. He's from what I'm hearing, he still want to learn the whole thing with debt, but in the meantime, he wants more capital with the first phase. The way we do things with the first phase. So me and Chris, what we'll do is we'll look at, when we start working with, we'll look at and see what we can do to help you when we get you the corporation. We may have to help you with your personal credit and business credit, things of that nature, and get you more funding with that program alone, if that's what you're looking for. But you know what I mean? But the price will be a little different because you got to go and add trade lines and all that stuff, et cetera, et cetera. The other funding is so much easier, but if you want to stay away from that, and you want to get up to 300,000-400,000 the other way, just with the first phase and going back and getting more funding, we may need to check out your credit and see where, you may need to boost that thing 100 points and add some trade lines to it. And then do the same thing with your business credit. Okay. All those things are important when you're getting, and then you can just stay away from that phase 2 if you want to, if that's what you want to do, brother. All right. That's what it sounds like to me.
No, I'm actually, maybe I'm not being as clear. I'm actually all in.
Good.
I'm pretty much,
That's good.
Pretty much, I'm ready to move probably in the next couple of days.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm just trying to see exactly, what type of options there are as far as doing both routes.
Okay.
Continuously.
Let's get on another call, you and I and Chris, and we can strategize, because that's the thing with us. I like to under promise and over deliver and make sure that the client is first. So we want to tailor this thing so you win. Okay, but we can do it on another phone call. All right.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, do me a huge favor. Just email me and just say, hey, Jimmy, I'm ready to chat. I'm leaving the office now, but I'll be back on Monday morning, and I'll get with Chris. we'll make sure that you're happy, my brother. That's all we want. We want to get you started and make you happy. All right.
Appreciate that. We can hop on a call this coming week.
Gotcha. Sounds
All
good,
right.
Carter. All right.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yep. Is that it? Okay, I think that's it. Yeah.
The $100 contract,
Mm-hmm.
if somebody sign up under my link,
Mm-hmm.
how much would I get?
Okay,
after
so
they sign?
I'm not going to get into that right now.
Oh,
Again, and just remember, when I do these masterminds, I want to say focus on one topic. Okay, I have it
Okay.
all in the videos, but I'm going to tell you this since you asked me. So whoever invests $100 and buy their contract, smart contract, if they're directly under you, you make $30. Okay, as long as they're
Okay.
directly under you. You know, the first level is XYZ. You know, it's $30, and then the people under them, I think it's like $10 or something. But the most important thing is right now you need to get your first contract. That's the first thing, because if you can't get commissions if you're not an active Cryptex investor. So you need to get your first contract, and then we'll talk about that on later on. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Peace and blessings, family, and I'm out. All right. Chris, thanks a lot, man. Fantastic job. And
Thanks, guys. Appreciate everyone.
I will be sending the replay soon. Okay. Give me like 24 hours. You guys will have the replay in your email. All right. All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna email you tomorrow,
Okay.
Monday.
Okay. Take care, guys. Bye.